Hello there, so John Benstead here from Norman Disney and Young, and thank you for attending the presentation on the key to BIM and GIS collaboration. Just to give you a bit of an overview of the intended agenda, a bit of an introduction, talk about who we are, Norman Disney and Young, my team, the BIM and Data Services team, the project, a bit of information on our client, and then go into the process and the production of the models and the overall final delivery of the asset information model. So normally in Disney and Young, primarily a building services consultant working in 5 countries. We've got 12 offices globally, mainly based in Australia and New Zealand, but also in the UK, Canada and Hong Kong. Work in a number of markets and a range of core services. Established in 1959, and we've got over 600 people working for the company. Our markets, we range from civic, health, education, industrial, mission critical, and I suppose our primary business is in the office space with new buildings, existing office interiors, residential, hotels, retail, and in more recent years we've done a lot of work in the transport area and utilities. So my team, the BIM and Data Services team, primarily based in Sydney, myself, Craig and Elaine based in Sydney, Jason in Melbourne. We've also just had a new starter join our team. We are a global team, and he's based in London. So a bit of information now on the project. So Circular Quay, the renewal investigations, really a precursor to the intended renewal, rejuvenation of the Circular Quay site. Most of you will know the iconic location of Circular Quay, located on the north of Sydney's CBD, between the iconic Sydney Opera House and the Harbour Bridge. This area is a major contributor to Sydney's economy, which is the fastest growing in Australia. The northern Sydney CBD is already experiencing huge growth and transformation with new commercial and residential builds. So our client, Transport for New South Wales, they're on their own digital journey. In fact, when we kicked off the first project, stage 1, was around 2018. Just prior to that, they'd released their initial release of their digital engineering framework. This is delivered incrementally through a series of key releases, and Transport's goals are to achieve a full benefits of digital engineering, transforming how they work and creating a unified, reliable and reusable approach to the delivery of all of their projects. So the benefits and key outcomes, Circular Quay is an existing infrastructure, is aging. It's comprised of multi-berth ferry wharves, the Circular Quay railway station, there's bus stops, taxi ranks, you have the new light rail precinct, and there's a cruise ship overseas passenger terminal. So they're looking to improve customer visitor experience, create a modern and safe and easy to use transport interchange, grow the local and tourist economy, and the real driver behind it is the updating of the aging infrastructure that's currently in place. Bit of information on annual visitor growth. In 2018, at the time of the stage 1 investigation works, there were 35 million individual customer trips through Circular Quay every year. At that time, it was estimated that this would increase to around 50 million visitors by 2020, where we are now, with an estimated growth to 81 million by 2040. So the project precincts. The interchange precinct, which was the scope area for our stage 1 investigations, that's the red area shown on the map there. That was, as I say, the first investigations in 2018. This was just prior to the light rail precinct. coming into being. You see that in the light orange area there. And then there's the wider precinct, which actually encompasses the whole area of the project, if you like. And this is where we're currently involved in now stage 2 investigations, which are now currently underway, which is scheduled to complete during next month, which shows mainly the blue area, but we're also encompassing a lot more survey and data capture from the Cahill Expressway. So the upgrade options, New South Wales Government is considering a number of options ranging from upgrade of the ferry wharves to complete revitalisation of the precinct. Driven by ageing infrastructure, as I mentioned, the ferry wharves were built around 70 years ago. The ferry wharves and promenade do not have the capacity to meet the future expected growth. So our project scope, as I mentioned, the Circular Quay renewal investigation. Project team engaged by Transport to carry out the investigations, capture really what is currently in place, and really inform all stakeholders of the current assets and the conditions of those assets. So the project team comprised of Coffee. They're one of our Tetra Tech partners, so Norman Disney and Young are part of the overall Tetra Tech group globally, and Coffee are also our sister company, if you like, within that group. They provide technical, geophysical, asset condition, hazardous materials and contamination investigations. And there's project surveyors who are engaged to carry out the 3D laser scan, services detection, Revit modeling from the scan data, and asset site survey. And then NDY ourselves, a BIM and data services team, function is the core behind the BIM management, data management, the BIM and GIS integration, and the final product, which was the overall asset information model, comprising of all of that data. So a number of challenges. BIM and GIS integration, new to the team, but with new capabilities developed through the years of the Esri Autodesk Alliance, and a range of capabilities in being able to integrate BIM into GIS. So this was an exciting project for us. I've been involved in GIS for a number of years, but now more recently that integration between BIM and GIS is a real game changer for us. Collaboration. Whilst the concept is not new to us within the BIM space, the challenge was to maximise the efficiencies for a much wider team not familiar with the available technologies. Site context challenges. Not only did we have a target window of operations, which is around 3 months, the teams had to work within restrictions of a very busy transport interchange with minimal impact on local residents and businesses. And in the middle of that stage 1 investigations, we had the Sydney Vivid Festival, which basically shut down all of our site works. And then big data. We had a lot of data that we needed to integrate in the BIM, link to assets in the BIM, and then integrate into GIS. So I say there's a lot of information from various disciplines in various formats. It's not only BIM data, but from various geotech software and the point cloud data. So from a geotech point of view, we had the borehole, vibrocore drilling data, side scan sonar, structural assessment data, hazardous material identification, contamination assessments, the detailed reports that came from all of those investigations, and the 3D surface models and 3D borehole and vibrocore models. From the site investigations, I thought I'd share just a few images that were captured during those investigations. So we've got a very busy waterway, cruise ships, ferries, water taxis, and the small grey boat that you can see in the middle of the picture there, just off to the right, is the side scan sonar boat. There's an image of one of the drill rigs, the Sealift 3, positioned between the ferry wharves. and another one at the end of one of the ferry wharves, carrying out the water-based boreholes. And a nice sunset shot for you with the harbour bridge in the background. And then from a survey perspective, we've got the on-site total station capture, 24 point cloud models generated, 85 gigabytes of data from those scans, scanning above and below deck on the wharves and promenades, underground services detection, heritage asset data survey. Is a number of heritage listed elements around the quay, which we needed to record as well, providing an overall detailed Revit model and 3D cadastral model for asset ownership management. Again, a few images for you. A lot of the scanning was done at night to minimize pedestrian traffic interference. So we've got a couple of images there of scanning Circular Quay station and on the promenade areas and wharves, and then below deck as well. So a reasonably hazardous undertaking from the team, attaching the scanning equipment to piles underneath the wharves and promenades. Again, restricted with access, not only with it being a busy waterway, but also restrictions on the tides as well. So here's some of the resulting laser scan data of the ferry wharves, promenade and Cahill Expressway over the railway, which was used to produce the overall Revit model. This is inside the station and scans from underneath the wharves. One of the colour scans that was taken was from the Museum of Contemporary Art, which was also modelled. So then getting on to the BIM, GIS and data management part. Ultimately, our deliverables were to provide 2D and 3D detailed site information, incorporate the 3D geotechnical ground model, 3D point cloud survey data and the resultant 3D Revit model, incorporating topographical survey data, existing services and utilities, and the production of that overall BIM for all of that data, and ultimately delivering that into an asset information model within ArcGIS. At the same time, we were capturing contamination information, asset conditions, structural surveys, services, including all of the services below the wharves and promenade, and hazardous material reporting. All BIM models delivered in their native format and in IFC, and all data structured in accordance with BS 1192. So the project delivery platforms, our primary delivery platform is Autodesk Revit and Navisworks. We also utilise Revis2 for project team collaboration and site survey, and Esri ArcGIS for the asset information model. It's a high-level process diagram that was generally the way we produced and managed the data captured from the BIM authoring software, which is in Revit and IFC format, managed in Navisworks and Revis2 to deliver on-site model access. Geotechnical engineering software, Rockworks and CAD outputs, again feeding into our Revit model and the creation of those Revit models. Through ArcGIS, interoperability extension, ArcGIS Pro, and then ultimately building our asset information model within ArcGIS, compilation of the GIS layers, and ultimately delivering that web scene. For the stage 1 project, delivery was via ArcGIS Online. We wanted a very simple interface, and it was also used to demonstrate what we could do. Whilst the Esri ArcGIS Online application wasn't part of the delivery, we really wanted to demonstrate what we could do and how we could offer up that 3D model, overall asset information model, to all stakeholders on the project. So to put it fairly simply, we took all of that data and mixed it up by our team, the BIM GIS and data management, to produce an overall asset information model, to make it sound really simple. So here's a few shots of the details on producing those models, ultimately ending up with an overall Revit model with all of the architectural data and structural data captured from the laser scan. So more views here of the model of the wharves, also showing the asset condition reports and the links that we're binding in to the model, so that we can then push that forward into ArcGIS and maintain those links so they are accessible via the asset information model. There's another view which shows all the links and information maintained in the BIM, which enabled us to also manage that data externally from BIM and push it into BIM once we've finalized the structure of how the data, the supporting data and the linked data was being stored. And from ArcGIS, we then maintained all of that link information. There's a few views here showing the model and how it was structured. Again, managing the 3D layers, connected databases, and testing of those links to the file server for linkages through to reports and other information that was captured during the site investigations. There's a view on the interpreted surfaces, top of rock, below water surfaces, and also you can see there that we're building up the links to the borehole information on that particular view. Again, a closer view of the wharf, one of the wharves themselves, and there you can see an example of the rather long file paths to the data that we were linking into the model. So as far as the asset data is concerned, we ultimately simplified the links, and within the asset information model, within our ArcGIS, we have access to all the asset condition information, heritage information, hazardous materials, and other areas of interest around the model. And the asset condition data, we then took it a stage further, particularly for the structural reporting, is using the power of Esri to be able to color code elements within the model based on their structural integrity, if you like, in this case, looking at the piles supporting the wharves and the promenade. And again, each element, every single element that you can see there, individual piles, beams, the like, their structural report was captured. Photographs of each element were captured in a report, and you can see the link to that report and a link to a location of photographs and other information for each structural element. And that's it, and thank you very much for your time. That's our stage 1 of Circular Quay investigations. As I mentioned earlier, we're currently in stage 2 of the investigations, and there'll be an update to this presentation as we're looking to utilize some more of the Esri products to deliver this overall asset information model. So again, thank you very much for your time, and I now believe we have some time for questions.